Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to talk about big business, the industry, the corporate world, especially in Germany, and how they push for ever more immigration into Germany from all over the world. And it doesn't matter from where and what kinds of people, they just want more people in Germany. I will cover that from a general point of view today, and in a future video I will go more into the specifics, especially why this is not sustainable, but why they do it in the short to mid-term, why they benefit from that. Why does big business love immigration? All right, let's start. There are a couple of points to be made. The very first one is, of course, and many people said that, they want more consumers, of course. The industry loves people who buy their products, who consume, and of course, Western Europe with their stagnant population and maybe also a sense of environmental thinking, that you shouldn't just consume a lot of products and throw them away, maybe buy more long-lasting products and watch your consumer behavior. That curbs, of course, the demand for cheap throwaway consumer products or for products in general. I don't even have to specify like that. And the industry always wants more consumers for their products. And that is the number, well, maybe not, I don't want to make a hierarchy of reasons, but the first one that comes to mind, of course. Then it has a second nice effect, and that is the depression of wages. The more people you have here, especially with a low skill set, the lower the wages can become. And the industry is always saying, they have their own propaganda outlets, right? They have the Employers Association of Germany, Arbeitgeberbund or Arbeitgeber, how is it called? Gesellschaft, Bund, Bund der Arbeitgeber, something like that. Okay, so it is an association of the German employers, and it's kind of a lobby organization that lobbies for the demands or for the interests of German employers. And of course, they always say, oh, we have a shortage of labor, we have a shortage of experts here, a shortage of people here, yeah. But what do you normally see when there is a shortage in labor, in certain key industries with certain key qualifications? You would see the wages go up, of course, yeah? And we don't see that in Germany. The wages are not going up. So that means there is no shortage of labor. That is a lie, okay? A big fat lie. And you have to look, and I don't want to bore you with the details, but you have to look at how labor shortage is defined. That means for one open position, there is less than 20 or 15 or even, it's a ridiculously high number of applicants, yeah? Not unemployed people, no, applicants. So they really want to choose one person out of 50 who apply for one job, and then they're satisfied, If it's less than 50, they don't have the feeling that they got the perfect person for the position. So they want to live in a world where there are millions of unemployed people, and they're desperate to do anything to get any kind of job. That is when German employers are satisfied. So that's the world they want to have. Yeah. So wages aren't going up. There is no shortage of labor. That is a big fat lie. It has been told to the Germans for decades now. It's not true. Otherwise, wages would go up. And I would argue that Germany, like 10 years ago, we were at a unique position historically where normal people with a normal education, not highly educated brainiacs, but average guys, could have a middle class income. We were at that historic point, and just as that was about to happen, when with respectable work you could obtain a respectable living standard and afford to have like 3 kids and send them to university and all that nice stuff, at that point they opened the borders. Yeah, and the tax payments had to go up and the wages dropped down, and then all these people, half of our population, is again, they have been at arms, well, they have been within reach of this middle class sweet lifestyle, and they had it already, many of them. And now they're far, far away from that, and they will probably never obtain that again in their lifetime. Okay? So that is the labor market aspect of the thing. And this is why big industry, they love migration. Yeah. Okay, these were the first two things. And related to the second point, I want to say also, let's say, let's make a quantitative example, like a little thought experiment or a easy example with rough numbers. Yeah, you bring in 1 million more or less unskilled people. Okay, of these 1 million people, maybe 10,000 of them, which is which is 1% of them. 1% of them, yeah, just for argument's sake, will become engineers, will become doctors, will become real um, yeah, pillars of society and make a lot of wage money, salary income, and thus pay into the social systems and pay taxes in a meaningful way. That means more than they get from the system in redistributed income, welfare of this form or the other. Okay, the industry is of course happy about these 10,000 people, but they don't care about the 990,000 people that are not in that position, that have precarious working conditions, that are unemployed, or they are employed this month, unemployed the next month, they are, bottom line, they are a burden on the German taxpayer, on the public funds, on the welfare, social security programs. They will never contribute over their lifespan in a meaningful way to our retirement systems. That means when they get old and can no longer work, they will be on welfare. They will not get money from their retirement funds. They cannot accumulate wealth. They will have for their whole lifetime, and their children and grandchildren also, of course, will have to be taken care of by the taxpayer. And the German industry, for now, and this is the key point, in the short to midterm, they don't care about that because they don't see that. It's the government's problem. It's the German worker who has to pay for these people, more or less. But, and here comes the kicker, corporations, of course, pay taxes too. Not the big ones. They have big law departments, legal departments, and they don't have to pay taxes really if they're smart about it. But the German Mittelstand, the family owned businesses, the GmbHs, not the stock companies, but the smaller mid-sized companies that have like 50 or 100 employees, that have, all about that, this success story, German Mittelstand, they're 100 years ago, their grandpa founded this little crafts business, and then 1 or 2 generations later, it became a global player in a niche market, and they make this little thing that nobody else on the planet can make in this quality, and they basically have 80% market share, and they export into all different continents and countries, right? This success story. These guys, they have to pay taxes. They don't have big legal departments. They do honest work. They're good companies, and they have to pay taxes too. And guess what? Their taxes will also go up eventually, unless our government cuts them another sweet deal so that only the employee has to pay these taxes. But, for our social, and I'm getting ahead of myself here. I want to cover that in another video, really. But let's just say, for the sake of brevity for this video, the employer also has to pay for every employee they employ into our social systems. That's called Arbeitgeberanteil. And guess what? If our contributions to, like retirement programs and Medicaid, medical welfare or medical system contributions, if they go up, the employer also has to pay more into these systems. And that is why in the short term it pays off. But then, as our funds in these publicly funded programs, they are gone, the funds are gone, and tax money is used to replenish these funds now, which is technically not what you want to do, but it is a short-term fix. And once this doesn't work anymore, you have to increase the amount of payment that an employee has to make for, let's say, the retirement budget or the healthcare budget or something, and the employer also pays into that. So that's when they start complaining. And now maybe some of these people might see that it wasn't such a good idea, because for now, the employers, the business, they have only seen the 10,000 people, but now they start to be made aware very soon of the 990,000 people that we also took in and that they haven't heard about or seen of anything until now. And that is the key point here, I think. Big business loves immigration as long as they don't have to care for the fallout, for the collateral damage, let's say, that this millions of people cause in our country. They just want to pick out the 10,000 suitable candidates, and the 990,000 other people they just dump on society, and we all know where they live, and we all know who has to deal with them, and who has to suffer from them. It's of course not the wealthy, it's not the gentry class, it's not the bosses, it's not the owner class, it is the working class. They have to deal with that in their daily struggles, and their wages get depressed, their tax payments, their payments for social security, welfare programs go up. So that means this sweet middle class lifestyle that even a craftsperson could afford some years ago is absolutely out of reach now. It will never come back. As long as you stay in Germany, and as long as you are a normal worker, a normal craftsperson, a normal tradesman, you will never get in reach of that with honest work. All right, so I think things are starting to change as our funds are being depleted in Germany, as I already said in my last video. But this is another key aspect, and you see that everywhere in Germany. There are, in German newspapers, you have a lot of editorials and guest comments and yeah, generally articles quoting the spokespeople of the Employers Association, Arbeitgeberverband, yeah, from Germany, this lobby organization. And they always, they use these words, diversity and tolerance, and we need to be an open country and open borders and stuff. Yeah, why? Because they want low wages, and they want people who are desperate to take any job for any kind of money. This is what they want. And this is what they got. And they made a quick buck. And as a last verdict or resume of this video here, I want to say that this is just a manifestation of how, especially in Germany, where business leaders and company owners, this Mittelstand, they used to think in terms of generations, of not even decades, more like maybe centuries, generations, let's say generations. But now they look at the quarterly numbers. And this is, they behave now like Walmart, like Apple, like these big stock companies who just want to optimize their short-term figures, but they don't think about the next generation. They don't have any vision where the company should be at, or in what world they want to operate or conduct their business in 50 years, in 100 years. What about their children? What about their grandchildren? They don't care about that anymore. And in some countries, you might say, well, has it ever been any different? Well, in Germany, it has been different. This is why the Mittelstand is so strong, or used to be so strong in Germany, because they used to care. Yes, they actually cared about society. They cared about the worker. They saw that they get loyalty from the worker, from the employee, but they also have to give something. Yeah, and this taking responsibility for society also as a businessman, this is completely absent now. Now it's just, we need more people, we need more consumers, we need lower wages, we need more labor, yeah, more GDP, now, yeah. this has also already infected mid-sized and smaller corporations. Okay, I want to leave it at that. Let me know what you think about that and how that is in your country. Have you also had a history of, let's say, this Shark Tank capitalism, or that you know from the Anglo world? Maybe this Manchester capitalism is a buzzword, I think, or was it more closely related to Rhineland capitalism, which is paternalistic, maybe patriarchal, where the patriarch expects loyalty, but also gives in return loyalty to the employee. This is what we had in Germany. This is what made Germany strong. Let me know. Servus, Kameraden.